We settle for the details now. The National Teaching Council has described as worrying the position of NDC flag bearer John Mahama to scrap the teacher licensure examinations if he is re-elected as president. Mr. Mahama, in a Facebook Live address earlier this month, expressed strong views about the licensure exams, which has been splitting opinions among the teacher ranks.
I believe that if we improve the examination, the final exam that they take, and we improve the quality of teaching and learning in the colleges of education, you don't need for them to pass their exams, come out, and go back and write a licensing exam. And so when we come into office, we'll take out the licensing exam, we'll improve the quality of teaching and learning in the colleges of education so that when they pass their exam for the colleges, you know that this is a person who is a professional teacher and can handle the children that they'll be given.
Mr. Mahama's comments were followed by this reaction from Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, Daniel Afedu, on Newsfile last Saturday.
There are discussions ongoing on the fee that has to be charged. I think last week
But you are for the policy?
Sure, we are for it.
So you write the license?
We will write.
Is the question is about the fee, how much you pay for it?
The fees and who to pay.
Well, that comment did not go down well with the teacher body, which has issued a statement clarifying their position on the subject. Here are excerpts of a statement issued by General Secretary Thomas Musa, read to you.
We write to react to the discussion on the Joy News File program on Saturday, 28 December 2019 on former President John Mahama's recent Facebook Live interaction in which he is quoted to have said his government, if elected into power, will do away with the licensure of teachers' examinations. Management of the Ghana National Association of Teachers officially and categorically states that the licensure of teachers is a government policy and not the origination of NAT. Thus, any public or veiled or seeming attempt to link the association with its operationalization by any government in power is not authorized. As an organization, ours is to stand to defend what is good for our teachers and the education enterprise in general. We work with every government, so we move with policies of every government. In the light of our above stance, we would not be drawn into any debate over the licensure policy.
That's the statement from NAT read to you by Komla Adom. Well, in an interview with JoyNews, however, Chairman of the National Teaching Council, Professor Eric Nyako Samson, described the former president's position as worrying. He says it flies in the face of global efforts to professionalize teaching. He's been speaking to my colleague Komla Adom about this and other matters arising.
The licensure, if people will understand, it's about how you enter into a profession. And so to speak, licensure is the first step of professionalization. So it's first only for those who are entering the profession. So if you say that you want to scrap it, then how are you going to professionalize it? You know, I would want us to see how did the NTC even come about, the National Teaching Council. From the Anamoa Mensa Committee report, which the President Kufuor said to review education. And on teacher education, the committee indicated that there should be a body to regulate and then license teachers. So NTC and the committee really suggested the name that there should be a National Teaching Council who should be a coordinating and a licensing body. So in professionalizing teaching, then what do? There is the need for licensing, you know, so that those who will enter will know that, well, this is the gate we are entering. And if you compare it with all the professions, I think it shows. And so to say to scrap it, it's a little bit worrying, except that to say that what needs to be done is to look at it, maybe have stakeholders, and which we have been doing. It can't be that teaching would be the last resort. It can be that teaching will be so much open to everybody. And so there should be the specialization. And there's a reason.
And there's also the issue about the fees that are being charged for the exam itself. You know, there are some calling for either it should be made free of charge, others are saying that perhaps the fees must be reduced so that across board the teachers can be able to afford. Is this something that's on the table?
We are still discussing. But you see, I heard someone quoted 300 cedis, which is wrong. It's false. The teachers pay 220 Ghana cedis as the entrance fee. You are writing 3 papers, and you are looking at writing these 3 papers right across the country. You are looking at what goes into setting an exam as that. You know, the security, the writers, the moderators, those who will go out to supervise and all that. You have people who will take the calculator and say, okay, you say 220 per student. And if you have 14,000 students coming out of the institutions, 220 times 14,000 is so much. What are they doing with the money? You know, so that makes it interesting. And what is the licensure exam? Especially what we are doing here called the Ghana Teacher Licensure Exam. What it does is to test the minimum skills, the minimum knowledge of the person who is going to the field to know that, oh, right, this person has the minimum skills to go to the field. Some say, oh, but we had the training in the schools, they had the training in the colleges and all that. You see, what we get from myself, I began as a certificate A teacher, you know. So what we start at the colleges and at the university level is to give us the academic degree. These academic examinations assess how competent we are for the degree for which we are pursuing. The licensure examination is looking at the competence of the individual who has the degree to be able to perform on the job. So across the world, licensure examinations are really not used to select top people. So you will see that licensure examinations are not classified as degree or diploma. In degree or diploma in the school, you have a first class, you have a second class, and all that. The licensure exam is either a pass or a fail.
You speak about the exam being one to assess the person's ability to perform on their job. But there could be instances where people are competent, yes, but they just for some circumstances failed their licensure exams. Does that mean they cannot teach?
Well, so you are looking at, so what made you not pass? You know, and as an educator, I know things that go into kind of writing examinations, you know, but then this has been made in such a way that, you know, there's so much noise about it. But when the candidates themselves come out, they realize that, oh, this hue and cry, and you understand them. The noise has brought about anxiety among students. It's not that huge. It is for the good of the teaching profession. We have met the teacher unions who have pledged their support to say that this is the way to go, you know.
And on the back of that, following the declaration by the former president, we also had the NAT executive at the Newsfile event saying they support it. But then just yesterday, we had another executive of NAT saying they do not have a position on this whole, whether to scrap or not the licensure examination.
Yes, thank you. I read that from the General Secretary, if that's what you are referring to, Musa. And the release makes interesting reading, you know, and especially where he says that they work with the government of the day. So if they work with the government of the day, and it's a policy of the government of the day, they want to. But Komla, I will tell you that the licensure exam is not the policy of the MPP government. That is what people have sought to portray. It's something that has been an Act 778, for which National Teaching Council was established to professionalize teaching and make teachers motivated. Everybody wants to belong to a profession. Everybody wants to belong to a profession. And so in getting into a profession, there are 6 things, 6 steps that, and licensure is the first one. Licensure is the last one. But to get a certificate before you even write, certificate in the area you want to enter, and before you write the licensure to enter. So, well, teacher unions, you can understand them, but I can tell you that they have been cooperating since I became the chairman in August 2017. There have been misunderstandings. We have sat down, discussed all those things like we are doing now. One of the interesting things that we find is the fact that in-service teachers, when we talk about in-service, we are talking about people who are already teaching. They are going to write exams. That's not correct. And we have said that time and over again, that in-service teachers are not going to write. Currently, we just finished a nationwide sensitization of such teachers, of what they will be required to do, what details they will need to send to NTC, and then what NTC will do. We are going to take their biometric data. We have some already. Some are not complete, so we'll request them to complete them, bring them, and then we will come to their centers in the districts in the country to take their data, to take their pictures and all that, and then run biometric, license cards for them. So what we are currently discussing with the teacher unions is how much to charge. We at the NTC, by our calculation, said that, well, because of the security features and other things, we think that by our calculation, 200 Ghana cedis should be charged, but the teacher unions are not into it. So we are discussing, we're almost concluding the discussion when this thing came up. So I think that talking to the teachers themselves and explaining the nitty-gritties of the licensure and professionalization process to them, they think that licensure is the way to go.
You've spoken to me, about the charge, the 220 cedis, but there's also another school of thought which believes that why not let them go through the process, write the exam, and say pay like a monthly fee to maintain their license. Is that not something you can consider?
No, you see, if you pay a monthly, so the license, once you get it, you don't have to pay to maintain it till you are coming to renew the license, which all professions do. How are you renewing the license? You are not writing an examination to renew the license. What you do, like all professions do, is to go through professional development programs, continuous professional development programs that are aligned to your level. So if you are at grade 1, there are some requirements of courses or programs for you to take at grade 1, if in grade 2, and so on and so forth. So that's what we are doing. So to say that write it free and pay monthly, that's also going to be some payment. So why not pay one time to write the exam? And remember that the 220 you pay would also include the license, the initial license. That is what we agreed with the teacher unions. So moving forward, then you won't need to pay to maintain the license.
I'm very young, but I've not heard any instance of quack teachers, in the system before. Is it the case that before even this licensure examination started, there were no such quacks? And how is the licensure exams going to check if there are any of those?
Thank you very much, Komla. You see, you made an interesting assertion. There are, but probably we may not call them quack. We usually call them unqualified, unprofessional, non-professional, or pupil teachers. So you agree that there are a lot of them around. Why are they around? They are around because there is no formal regulation with respect to entering the field. So you can and people think teaching is talking. So once you can talk about a concept or a phenomenon, you can be a good teacher. But if there is a way of entry, a formalized and a recognized way of entry, then you are looking at the licensure exam. How do you enter? So it will check. That is why in the act that established NTC, part of it says that it is only with the teacher's license that anybody can stand. It's valid, let me add, valid teacher's license that anybody can be in a classroom in Ghana to teach. So if you don't have it, you can't teach. So once it comes once we begin that, then we look at those who are in there. Now we are encouraging those who are in there to, as it were, take programs in education to upgrade in order to be able to write licensure. And I'm happy to tell you, going around the country, supervising some of these exams, people have gone, taking those courses, and are writing to enter the profession, as it were, properly.
Finally, I recall the last exam that you organized had a few issues. You know, the teachers, those who were the candidates, I have to say, were raising some concerns, the questions that were said, and even the results that came out eventually. We also heard about some more practices, you know, that went on during the exam. How far with those issues, outstanding issues, have they been settled?
Thank you. Yes, there are some we have withheld their results when we set investigative committees to work on that. So when untoward issues were, as it were, came up, we really made sure that we apply the regulations regarding the examinations. So there are regulations regarding the examinations. And I'm sure what made the news was the first one. After that, we have written more than two. Sometimes the media has not even heard that we have written. So it tells you that we went back, looked at what went wrong, reorganized, and then we have come back, and we are working very, very well.
So that's my colleague Komla Adom there, getting some clarification on that. Or some of you who are teachers who are familiar with the education field have been sending us some of your messages. Let's do some quickly and then we can move on from there. This one is coming from Asko Shakor in Wa. You say, JoyNews, I want to use this opportunity to ask, is the Director General of Education aware that some of his Upper West regional officers are collecting money from teachers who are due to study leave with pay? We can't verify that. We have not verified that, but that's an allegation that you're making. You need more evidence on that. If a teacher is qualified, you see, for the leave, and for an officer is harassing him for money, what is the way forward? That's a question that you are putting in. Good afternoon, Gifty. This teacher's licensing exam is something else. Why can't they factor the licensing exam into their final exam, just as the NMC has been doing for nurses, rather than conducting this exam when you're out of school and don't even know what to learn in preparation towards the exam? This is the way of taking money from the poor nurses for doing nothing. From Lawson in La Paz. Lawson, thanks for sending that message. And this one says, this man is talking as an NPP man. Why can't they make that license exams as part of their final exam? So some very common sentiments there. Good afternoon. Please use your medium to find out from the President and the Minister of Education when they will open application for those who wrote the licensure exams and passed yet in the House. Edward sends that from Salaga. I'll take a final message, and this one says, if you people don't want to amass wealth through licensure exams, then do it for free because of the money. That is why they are interested. They are stealing 220 cedis to share it among themselves. So some very common sentiments being shared by some of you who are sending your messages. Keep them coming. Also, let us know what you think, how your week is going, and how the holidays are going for you. Let's bring back